Our next case is in the first month where we were starting finishing. Again, we will remove each of the ties and then remove the arch wire. The lower arch wire has been in place for a while and is in fact an 018 custom wire, a finishing wire. The upper, we have some steel ligature wires that the assistant has not removed. And the back of the wire has been cinched back using the loops as closing loops. We will need to cut these with a distal end cutter to remove the wire. In this case, we would like to have some mesial root tip on the upper left central incisor and some distal root tip on the upper right central incisor and upper right lateral. As well, we would like to make a step out on the mesial of the upper right 3, the upper right cuspid. We will check the height of the cuspids by stepping back from the patient and looking at the patient from far away, being sure that the cuspid height from right to left is consistent. In this case, it was. We now need to remove the wire, but it has been cinched back. So we must cut the wire to remove it. This is a 19 by 25 stainless steel arch wire. We will be changing to an 018 stainless steel arch wire to make our custom arch wire bends. This will allow the patient's occlusion to help you in finishing. When placing the 018 arch wire with the upper second molars in place, you may find that you will not be able to get the wire between the two tubes of the upper first molar and the upper second molar. In this case, the upper second molars had just been added the month before, where the arch wire cinch back had been placed to the upper first molar. If you cannot gain engagement of both tubes, then you would need to convert the bracket on the upper first molar. In this case, I was able to make engagement of both tubes. We will now size the wire, leaving some arch wire out the distal end, since the arch wire bends will take up wire length. We will now mark the wire and try to visualize how to make the bends on this series of second order bends. Make a mark at each point where you feel that you need to make a bend. Removing the wire, we will make a step up on the distal of the upper left one and then move the root to the mesial. Like so. Now we will make a step up on the upper right one on the mesial and make a distal root tip for that tooth. And the same on the upper right lateral incisor. A step up and a distal root tip. We determined on the lateral that we needed to step down the distal. Now adjust for the amount of angulation on each tooth. Now we'll make the step out in another plane on the upper right cuspid. then check our arch form after making these bends in the wire. Again, you can check each bend before replacing the wire for the amount of step and the amount of tip. Adding or subtracting where you see fit. We now will just replace the wire and then determine whether or not steel ligature wires or elastic ligature ties are sufficient to hold the arch wire bends into the slot. You can see the activation when placing the wire into the slot. In this case, we will use elastics to hold the arch wire in place. Let's now look at the lower arch, which has had a wire in place already for a couple of months.